I'm Laura from Infinitas, and I'm here to bust some myths about heat pumps. Busting myths about heat pumps. So the three types of heat pump, just to be clear, the heat pump itself, the heat pump technology is exactly the same regardless of whether you're using water, air, ground or something else as your source. The compression cycle inside there and the components inside the heat pump, the evaporator, condenser, compressor and expansion valve are the same, and you'll be using refrigerant in there in that cycle. The difference between them is that air source is taking its energy, its free energy from the air, whereas ground source is taking it from a borehole or a horizontal ground collector, so taking heat from the ground. Water source is taking its primary or its free energy from a water source, as the name suggests, such as the sea, a river, a lake, a pond, a canal, mine water, wastewater. So which is better? Well, in terms of efficiency, using a ground and water source heat pump in the UK is going to win every single time, and the reason for that is because the free energy that you're getting in, the temperature of that is more stable all year round. Air source suffers because in the UK we have colder temperatures in the winter, just when the heat pump needs to be working hard to produce the most heating and hot water, because that's when we have our heating on. The benefit of air source is that it's a lot cheaper to install than ground or water source heat pumps. So you've got cheaper to buy, but less efficient in the winter time. So that's the difference with air source on its own. Ground and water source, the difference between those is that if you don't have access to a water source, if you don't have your building next to a river or next to the sea or another large water body, you can't use water source. The only way you might be able to use water source is if you had an underground aquifer, which is where you drill down into the ground and you access the aquifers as water running underground all across the UK. It's at different levels and it's different difficulties of access. But going back to the original point, which is best, ground source and water source, are both more efficient than air source. They're definitely more expensive because you've got the groundworks to deal with, but the benefit will be your running cost over the course of the life of the project will be a lot lower than air source. The other thing about air source is that because the unit sits outside typically, it will be subject to rain and wind and some corrosion, so you will have to maintain it a lot more. As a ground source or water source heat pump, which are both the same unit, go indoors, inside a plant room, inside a utility room, inside an energy centre, and they're obviously protected then from the elements, so they do tend to be longer lasting because they're not exposed to the elements.